Today I just want to talk about the fact that I think I finally gained my freedom. Today is February 1st, 2025, and Thursday, January 30th, I was able to get a restraining order against John for Zoe and I both, and also an immediate eviction. I have to go to court on the 21st of February, which is my mom's birthday, and the day before my son passed away, of the anniversary of his death. And I'm feeling all kinds of emotions. I don't even know what to say. I met John in June of 2013. I had ended a relationship. After my son died, my husband and I grieved differently, and we were not able to work through that grief, so we ended our marriage at 24 and a half years. And I went straight into another relationship for all the wrong reasons. And nice guy, but just not the right guy for me. And that lasted 3 years. And as that was ending, I met John. And at first I thought he was charming. He was full of himself. He really thought he was good looking. But he was artistic and, I want to say mysterious or whatever. Very big, tall guy. Little did I know he felt I was so beneath him. And that seemed to be one of the things that he needed. He needed to feel that he was superior to me. And that apparently was a thread with him, because he always talked so lowly about every woman he was ever with prior to me. He always talked about them like they were, just terrible creatures, homely looking, whatever. Just tried to make them look as bad as possible. And of course, he did that with me as well. The first incident that I saw out of him that, was concerning was I had gone to his house, and it was late in the evening. I think it was like 10:30 when I went over there, and I had on shorts, just, like regular jogging shorts or whatever, sleeping shorts. And, I've always felt confident about myself. And I never had anybody who made me feel otherwise like that. Not like that. I mean, I had a bad relationship as a teenager, but even that wasn't like this. But we've been laying on the bed watching TV, and I got up. This was at his house. I got up and I went to the bathroom, and there was a long hallway to get to the bathroom. And as I walked down the hallway, I walked back, and I sat down on the edge of the bed, and he started in telling me how he had dated girls who were beautiful and perfect, and would never have dreamed of walking out of the house in shorts so inappropriately short as what I had on. And I was so stunned that he would say that to me that I just grabbed my purse and left. And I didn't even know to cry. Like, I didn't even know how to handle it. I didn't even know what to do. And that should have been my cue. That should have been my cue that this man was disordered, troubled. But even in my almost 10 years of working in mental health, working with, borderline, bipolar, all these serious mental health diagnoses. I did never worked with someone like him. I never worked with someone with a cluster B personality. That's what I believe. I believe that after looking back, that he has narcissistic personality disorder, literally. Uh, what I have been through, and now also my daughter has been through in the last 12 years, I can't even, I don't have enough time to summarize it. I started a YouTube channel. I started making videos while I was in it, and today's just 2 days out, which I believe I'm actually out. But I still have a long way to go. I still have to get this house refinanced. I have to have a judge give us some idea of how to come up with something that's fair. I was the sole breadwinner the entire time. I paid all of the bills. Even when he did have money, he did not want to pay any bills. He only wanted to buy fun things or things he thought he needed, like fences to fence in the whole property so that no one could see us or see him. And now I'm in this house, and the neighbors have restraining orders against him, and that this is how it's been. He upsets people and causes grief wherever he goes. He has no long-term relationships. Even his own sisters are at odds with him right now since his mom died. And they were insulted by how he wanted his share of the money. 2 weeks, after she died, he was calling them sneaky because he didn't have his share of the money yet. And this is just how he is. So I have to go to court February 21st, and I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but I'm going to try to do some research so that I can be prepared. And I'm going to try to get his name off of the birth certificate, off Zoe's birth certificate. And I think I'm going to try to change her name to my name, Graham. And I discovered after she was born, I found out I was pregnant with her when I was 47 years old. I was 47 when I found out she's 10 years old now. And that was in November of 2013. I didn't live with him. I remember calling him or texting him, I think, and saying, I need to talk to you, because I was just sure that she was his. He was the only person I had been with for the last couple of months. But came to find out that she was not his. She is actually my previous relationship. She belongs to the man that I had ended the relationship with. I was pregnant farther along pregnant than what I thought. Who would have thought at that age that they would have to go take pregnancy tests? So in my defense, I had no idea. By the time I did find out, she was about 6 months old. I actually got a DNA test with the person who I had been with before, and the only reason I did it, because I was so sure she was not his, was to shut him up so he would stop saying that she was his. And it took 2 months before before the results came back, and I was shocked to find out that they said, the results said that she was his. So I lived in fear for a while because, at this point, I was very heavy. I had, pregnancy was terrible with him. I mean, pregnancy was okay, but the abuse that I endured during pregnancy was terrible. And I remember crying many times. I remember getting in the bathtub and turning the jets on so that the sound would muffle my cries. I didn't know what to do. I was, by the time I had her, I was 309 pounds. I was physically exhausted being pregnant. I was so broken down from him. He would scream at me constantly. My children went and lived with their dad. uh, because I was in fear of them being around him. And I remember trying to get out once. I remember calling the police, or no, actually someone heard us fighting. I don't know what happened, but we fought all night. It was Thanksgiving, and I thought that the next day I would try to get away from him, but someone called and reported to do a wellness check. So the next day, he was asleep on the couch, and there was a knock at the door, and I looked, and we had a camera at the door, and so I could see there were 2 police officers there. And I heard him answer. He first just came upstairs, and he said, "Did you call the police?" And I didn't, and I said no. And he turned around and walked calmly back down the stairs, and he opened the door, and I heard him talking, and he said, "Yes, we were just fighting. We're fine. She's upstairs. I was asleep." And they said, "Well, we need to see her too." And he said, "Okay, I'll go get the baby and send her down." And I was just panic stricken at that point. And so I just started walking down the stairs. The door was right there. They could see me. He closed the door, but he didn't lock it, and there was a window. And so as I walked down the stairs, he just walked up the stairs and kept on going up to the bedroom. And I got to the bottom of the stairs, and I said, "Please get me out of here." And so I had Zoe in my arms, and we didn't have any shoes on. And there was a frozen blanket on the porch on a lawn chair, like a settee. And I grabbed the blanket because it was the only thing I had. And we left there without a car seat or anything, went to the police station, and I showed the text messages that he had sent me telling me that if anyone tried to take his daughter, he said, "I'll kill any cop that comes in the door," and before they could ever get in the door. And he told me once he would slit my throat before they could get the door open. And so I was so fearful of him. And I mean, I'm making this very long, but this was my life for 12 years. And most recently, he started saying things to Zoe. She's 10, and she's got friends, and she wants to do her thing. She wants to be with her friends and have fun with her friends. And he just can't deal with it. And she's also stood up for me a few times, and so he's screamed at her. He's called her a piece of trash to her face. He said this type of thing to me for years and more, but unbelievable that he would say this to a 10-year-old. And she has reacted by screaming at him and telling him that she hates him and she wishes he would leave. And the past few weeks this has gone on, and he made a threat and said he would punch me in the face and if I said another word, and then he said, "God's going to punish you because you're going to die soon." And then he also told me that he's in a lot of legal trouble right now, and he told me about the thoughts he was having about what he wanted to do with all the people that had gotten him in trouble because he doesn't believe he's guilty of anything, meaning the judge, the police, the prosecutor, the sheriff, the neighbors. And he said he would be that guy, and he would just write down a note about what all they did to him and why he did what he did, and then just go kill them all. And I had those 2 things on. I had a video of him saying that, and I had audio of him threatening me. And I felt like that might be enough, and it's a blessing how I ended up getting to the courthouse and everything. But to make a long story short, I got the restraining order for both of us, and the immediate eviction. So today's the day. Today's the day I'm documenting my freedom. And I know I have a long road ahead. I know I have to split this property. I know I have to, figure out what we're going to do about assets. And I know I need to do something about Zoe and her name because she's not a James. And her birth certificate is not correct. And I want to fix that. So, I'm sitting here by myself. She's stayed the night at a friend's. And it's like the first night I've had by myself here in a long, long time. And I'm just thinking and reflecting on my life and how things can change and improve right now, and hoping my health improves, and feeling very hopeful. And so I wanted to document this, and I think that's about it.